Writing songs, it wasn't the question of whether I could write songs, it was the question of whether anyone would care. And so,
Writing songs was not about whether I was able to do it. The question was if anyone would care. It seems like your message is incomplete. Could you please provide the full text you'd like me to simplify? She was often the quiet strength, the creative mind working behind the scenes, the woman whose songs influenced many and whose words showed true emotions. Carole King never needed controversy to get attention. Her music expressed her feelings until now. Today, after many years of not speaking out, Carole King is finally revealing names. 6 de ellos. 6 musicians she can no longer tolerate. 6 people who crossed lines, disrespected boundaries, or worse, disrespected the essence of music that she valued deeply. This isn't just talk. It's a serious evaluation. Every name has a story behind it. A betrayal leaves a mark. The first name was surprising. Someone she once looked up to a lot, only to find out that harmony can mask control. Don Henley was the name. It began with respect. Henley's voice is well regarded. His sense of melody is notable, and the Eagles had a unique way of mixing country music with California rock. But that respect soon faded. In a recording session in LA in 1979, they had a strong disagreement. Carole wanted strong feelings. Henley aimed for perfection. She said he ruined the essence of every song, making it lifeless. He accused her of being overly sensitive. The reaction was cold. Carole left during the session. When Henley later ignored her feedback in an interview, she never forgave him. She still won't go to events where he's going to be. But she also carried physical wounds. Some came from plain arrogance, covered in glam and glitter. That's where Elton John comes into the picture. Hubo un momento, breve pero real. When Carole and Elton nearly made something special together. They were both great musicians, both pianists, and both passionate about storytelling. But their egos caused problems. Elton took control of the room, stopped her in the middle of her song, changed her chord progressions, and told her to make it more lively like he did in the UK. Carole felt crushed. After a terrible rehearsal in 1983, she left and never returned. She later told friends it was like trying to sing a duet with a tornado. Some rejections hurt more, not because there are many, but because there is no response. Similar to the one she received from Eric Clapton, this took place at a benefit concert in the 1980s. Carole King, known for her kindness and teamwork, presented Clapton with a clear idea, an acoustic version of Natural Woman. It was meant to be natural and heartfelt, with her voice supported by the rich sound of his famous guitar. No fue una jugada de poder. It was an invitation, a sign of respect. Carole Clapton no escuchó la música. He only saw himself. Elsa encogió de hombros, sin prestar mucha atención. Not for me, he whispered. No eran las palabras, fue el frío en su voz. I wanted to place my experiences within a bigger historical framework. That's very important to me, because I view myself as someone who watches just like you do. That means we have it. The uninterested tone, the casual indifference, as if her catalog, her legacy, and her whole contribution to music were somehow minor, as if she didn't deserve to share the stage with him. For Carole, that moment was not only painful, it resonated. She had been with titans, influenced the feelings of a whole generation, and now she felt ignored like a beginner. She left that night smiling, but her eyes didn't show it. Inside she felt like no one could see her. She felt smaller, not because she sought his approval, but because she believed he could understand. She hoped he would, like her, see the beauty in holding back, in giving space, and in allowing a song to flow naturally. Instead he picked silence, and that silence was more powerful than any guitar riff. It wasn't just a performance that didn't happen. It was a missed opportunity to connect emotionally. Carole King always remembered it. Eso es lo que le pasó a Bob Dylan. Everyone thought something special would happen when Carole and Bob were scheduled to perform at the same festival in the early 70s. It was the kind of match that people imagined. 2 songwriters, 2 voices of a generation, sharing the same backstage space. But instead of feeling connected, Carole found cold indifference. She came to him not as an equal, but as someone who had looked up to his poetry, his determination, and his talent. She felt thankful and modest. Sure, Please provide the text you would like me to simplify. Dylan, slouched with a cigarette in hand, hardly glanced up from his guitar. You're the one who writes for moms, he said seriously. No fue solo un despido. It was a knife covered in a shrug. In that moment, years of hard work, pain, and creating space for true feelings, were turned into a stereotype. Carole built her career by being authentic, writing about what people truly felt, but Dylan made her feel that being sincere was a weakness. Like her voice didn't fit with the adult world of rock and roll, the difference struck her strongly. She was not gullible, she understood how male icons acted, but she didn't expect that from him. Not Dylan, not the voice of protest, the master of metaphor. The hurt wasn't only about me, it was about philosophy. No solo la bien soltó. He insulted her views on what music could be. Ella nunca volvió a menciona. She didn't change in interviews or songs, but something inside her changed. She stopped quoting him and defending him. When his name was mentioned, she just stayed silent politely. Some wounds don't shout, they quietly exist below the surface. For Carole, the hardest hurts were always silent, not loud, and they came from the people she believed were paying attention. Nothing hurt more than what happened with Joni Mitchell. What started as respect between two pioneers soon turned into a quiet competition. They were a rare group of women expressing their truths, creating a place in a man's world not through loudness, but through music. At first I saw Joni as someone who shared the same feelings, smart, poetic and brave. She supported her from the sidelines, bought all her records, and defended her talent to critics who didn't understand. While Carole embraced warmth, community and teamwork, Joni created an image of being distant, alone and intellectually superior. Luego llegó el corte. One night at a party with many people from the industry and musicians, they mentioned Carole's name. Joni, with her cool and harsh smile, dismissed Carole's work as domestic poetry, a term that made everything Carole believed in seem less important. She learned about it within days, and it wasn't just a rumor. As a fact, Carole was devastated. That one phrase affected me more than any negative review. She had always thought her work highlighted the importance of the everyday, the specialness of common life, but now, the person she once admired made it feel small and easy to forget. She never faced Joni. Eso no era su estilo, but something changed. She stopped listening to Joni's music, and stopped quoting her songs. When interviewers asked about her, she avoided the question with a smile that looked like it could break. That's the problem with being hurt by someone you look up to. No deje mortones. It creates silence, a silence so deep that even a piano can't hold it. However, none of them compared to the cold and ruthless cruelty of the man who tried to possess everything, including her. Phil Spector was the final name she ever wanted to mention. This name is well known, but for Carole King it brought more than just fame. It arrived with fear. Spector's influence was very strong during her early years in the Brill Building, a place where young songwriters pursued their dreams and often saw them fail in rooms filled with gold records and inflated egos. At first she watched him from afar, appreciated his work, and admired the soundscapes he made, but that admiration changed to fear. Behind the catchy songs, and the famous sound, was a man she privately called a tyrant, in a velvet coat. His charm was unfeeling. His praise also included a warning. And his power was used like a weapon. Made her ideas seem unimportant in front of others, mocked her piano songs, and once told her to let the tough things be handled by men. Carole was just past her teenage years. Ella se quedó en silencio. Ella bajó la cabeza. But inside something broke. One late, quiet, unforgettable night, he trapped her in the hallway by Studio B. There were no cameras or witnesses, just him looming over her with a sneer. He whispered things she never shared, not with friends, and not even in her memoirs. But it was the night she promised she would never work for him again. As the years went by and her songs climbed the charts, her determination grew stronger. She created a way that didn't require his approval, his opinion, or his threats. When Spector's criminal actions were revealed, his violence and madness, along with his downfall, didn't faze Carole. For her, it was not surprising. It was a long-awaited moment of truth, a monster finally revealed. One of music's most mysterious figures had finally revealed to the world what she already knew, that power without spirit is just noise. This isn't Guanyu resentment, it's about reality. For Carole King, truth has always been found in the spaces between the words, in the silences, where feelings speak louder than music. For many years, she let her piano express her feelings. She smiled during interviews. She avoided conflicts. She picked kindness instead of fighting. Esta ahora. Silence doesn't always help. Sometimes it makes things harder, and can make you feel alone. For a woman whose career was based on being genuine, the burden of what she didn't say became too much to handle. The songs were never intended to hide the scars. They came from them. But now, with time past, and her legacy safe, she's revealing the truth. These 6 musicians weren't just names. They were important parts of her story. Some caused disappointment, some sparked quiet anger, and others gave hurts disguised as compliments. Their actions left marks on her soul. They broke her rhythm, took over her harmony, and tried to make her voice just background music. Esto no es venganza, esto es liberación. A long-awaited breath from the woman who provided the world with its most personal soundtrack. And Carole King, who was once the kind soul behind your favorite song, is finally expressing itself fully, sharing its feelings openly, and challenging the world to pay attention without turning away.